So we're getting ready to kick off this Thursday on that, like we do on YouTube, and then we'll be joining Newswire Live here in a second. We'll have Eddie George on from HEMET News. Message him, too, to make sure he's ready to go. I forgot to do that while we're talking about it. We'll have Jason Hunter on later on the show on that. Boy, we got a video for you of what was going on. Boy, that's don't want to do that till we get up on the air and stuff. We're gonna roll that up on that as we get ready to play the music. We're up on both of them on Newswire Daily, live at 5 on both on YouTube and Facebook Live. So we're coming in, jam-packed show today. Coming up, we'll have Eddie George coming up here a little bit here on that to give you an update on all the HEMET stuff going on up and down the line. And later on in the hour, we'll have Jason Hunter on to update you on Measure A, the school bonds, and all the other stuff that may be pertinent of what is going on. But we talked a lot yesterday about Joe Biden and his, and the real racists, or the center left, mainly coming from the Democratic Party, of using race to conquer and divide. The upcoming video that's going to be playing here in a little bit is going to be make Joe Biden stuff look like a cakewalk, because, this has been going on far too long, I believe, in our country. And we keep dancing around it, and we keep not calling it out. But it's got to be done, because this is almost going to be unbelievable when you do that. So tell me when you got the video ready, Jesse, and we'll play this. This is a student. They got a multicultural center they just built in a university in Virginia. So it's open. Everybody's, supposed to be all this diversity. Everybody get together. We're supposed to share our cultures. We don't understand your culture. This, da-da-da-da. We'll talk it out, da-da-da-da. So it's been open a few days. So this student walks through the door, and this was caught on Twitter on Young Americans for Liberty, YAL, of that. This is a little rendition that this student walked in and said, so go ahead and roll the video.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up, because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at, and there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
That's almost unbelievable. First, it's a multicultural center. So I think multicultural means you would include all cultures. Right off the get-go, that strikes me as being utterly ridiculous. And to say that, well, there's too many white people in here. Well, what would happen if Roy walked in there and said, you know what? There's too many black people in here. You guys ought to need to leave. Wonder what the reaction to that would be. It's almost unconscionable. What is going on? And the applause afterwards? Unreal. it's almost. I mean, it's almost. If you wouldn't have seen that on video or heard it, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, it defies logic. And it is. I mean, Joe Biden, well, we can't win without the black and browns and people of color. POC, piece of, well, you know what. But, I mean, that's the whole new thing. People of color. Well, everybody's a color. You know what? There is no white people per se because the pure color white is invisible. There is no color white. In order to see what you see the color white, it has to be tinted with some sort of something, else you wouldn't see it. So all this stuff is, it just totally blows my mind that you can actually run that clip again because it's just like it's almost just unbelievable. Run that video again because words cannot describe the idiocracy of this statement.
Public service announcement.
Oh, she stopped the video. Stopped for a second on that. No, you got it. This is a student at a university in Virginia walks into the multicultural room or whatever they got and utters this.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at, and there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
So we make them uncomfortable. Wow. If there was ever a racist statement, ever, that's it. I mean, you're classifying just because of what shade, skin tone, your shade of brown your skin tone is, you make people uncomfortable. There is no better example of what some are doing. That is the racism of 2020. There's no other words to describe it. And those politicians and leaders and educators and group leaders that are encouraging this, the amount of shame you should have on this is mind-boggling. Because, again, like that whole deal, how do you explain something like that? Other than you're just hating somebody by the way they look. Because, I mean, in the reaction to that, the applause coming in, I wonder if anybody walked out. Or I wonder if that because that's what, is that just intimidation? If I was at that university, I'd be getting as many people, I'd pack that place every freaking day. Okay, well, what do you think of this? Because, I mean, again, it's like stunning. Why isn't this on the news every day, 24/7, 365? This is what's going on in your schools, in your universities. You wonder why so many come out of it with with a college diploma with $80,000 in debt and can't find a job? This has got to be an exact reason why. Our schools are failing. were our university systems. Not only this, like I said, don't let the cancer of California spread across the country. Well, it has. Our university system is just like that. We'll have to find the tapes of Armando Navarro in the 90s at University of California at Riverside. Right here, Ground Zero, Inland Empire. You think this stuff is new? No. It was invented or probably test piloted and perfected not only in California, but probably right here in the Inland Empire. So we probably have a responsibility, if nothing else, to point this out or correct this. Because if we go as a country like this, there is no hope. They will bring back the race riot wars of the 60s if they keep this stuff up. I mean, it's just like you don't think words and stuff have consequences, your actions, and those that are stirring this kind of stuff up each and every day, and it goes across the board. I can't, like I said, I cannot wrap my head around the utter hate that was in that video. But the problem is that is the undercurrent that goes through and has gone through a lot in our society. And one thing is most have been either afraid to say anything or have ignored it, and it's festering. And we can't allow that to happen. If you want any sort of decent, normal society. Because these cats will just keep piling it onto you each and every day, and you will never, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to, how did this happen? It's like the homeless deal. All of a sudden it's like, boom, man, they're everywhere. And you go look around and it's, it's just incredible. Like I say, I mean, it takes a lot to stun me or shock me like that because I've seen a lot. And it's just absolutely I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I hope more of you will pay attention to this and call this out when you see it, because this stuff has got to stop. We're gonna roll in and we're gonna bring in our that crazy guy with a lazy eye, give us an update on all the things going on in HEMET, anywhere else, and anything else he might want. Well, just about anything else, as long as it's clean or suitable to broadcast on the AM and stuff, airways. Eddie George of HEMET News, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening, Roy. How are you today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fantastic. I mean, other than I was just stunned at that video of that college student in Virginia of that. I mean, that just kind of took me for a loop. But what's going on in HEMET?
Not much. I've been pretty quiet in HEMET. I've been down sick, so I haven't been out. We did have one video I sent you. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. I don't even know if it's
I think it's in the message thing, if you got it, Jesse.
Right. Now, if you do play this video, you'll probably want to mute the audio on it. Everybody remembers that story that was aired on TV on NBC4 with Tony Shannon about the flash mob robbery that happened, about a month ago or so here in Houston?
Correct. Yes, we've got it playing right now.
All right. You see that video as it's playing, Tony Shin was actually, you see that they actually put Tony Shin's story that was aired on NBC, and then they added their clip of the video. And if you see the security camera footage on this video that Tony Shin aired on NBC4, it shows the guys coming into the store, stealing all kind of stuff in the store. Over $500 of stuff was stolen. And we noticed that one of the guys walking into the front was holding a camera, and they were filming a music video of them doing this. And on the guy's shirt, he had like a camouflage outfit on, and in the center of it, it had IMG Studio logo on it. So the police were actually able to track that down and actually found that it was an IMG Studios here in San Jacinto. It's hip-hop rappers decided, to go out and do a crazy music video. And you see what you see on the video of the security cameras, and then we give you the video that these guys were shooting. And talking about the HEMET's dumbest criminals, they actually incriminated themselves by putting out their own evidence against themselves, showing who all's there, good facial shots of everybody. I mean, it just made it so easy for HEMET police to be able to identify everybody in that video that was partook that night there at the AM/PM. So I was like, I seen that, and I was like, wow. I mean, I know we got crazy people in our town, but this really cuts the cake. They win the Darwin Award for the Hemet Valley Rag Mag for the HEMET's dumbest criminals. And that's what I told Captain Brock with the HEMET police. I said, did you see this video? He says, yeah, we're definitely aware of the video, and our investigators are actually checking it out right now. And a lot of the people in the public is like, if you watch the video that you're playing, you will even see the cashier of the AM/PM in there. They're getting into the beat with it. They're pumping their hands like, oh yeah, I'm in a music video. But this cashier did not even know what was really going on. He was all in the flow, just thinking of music videos being shot and all that. And then after it was all done and over with, these guys robbed the store of all kind of beef jerky and all kind of stuff, and they bounce out. And at the very end of the video, you'll see these idiots take off in a car with somebody riding on top of the car, shooting down Stetson Avenue. It's like, wow. I mean, not only are they identifying themselves to the police, showing that they were there doing what they were doing, but now they also showing the police, look at me, we're breaking the law, driving recklessly through your town. I was like, man, I don't know what these guys were smoking, what kind of weed they were on, to even, let's do something stupid.
So let me break it down so I understand it. Without permission of the store owner, AM/PM, or anything, they go out there and shoot, or they want to shoot a video for their hip hop rap song, whatever. And I don't understand this crotch grabbing, but that's a subject for a different day. But on top of that, so they do this part, then they make this video, which is highly, again, like highly inappropriate. But and I'm not a prude about stuff, but I mean, there is a line you don't want to cross on doing this stuff, or in decorum of what you should be doing, and that definitely to me is crossing it. But setting that aside, so they don't have permission to make this video is what we understand now, our understanding of it. And then they make this. Then afterwards, they roll through the store and just start taking items from the AM/PM for whatever reason. I don't know. What is that part of the video thing that they were doing, or what was the purpose of that? Do we know?
You actually really didn't even see that part. They didn't even add that part into the video. You do see them standing up on shelves and stuff, in their video. But of course, they're not going to show themselves stealing, because that's even going to be more incriminating. I figured they would, as stupid as they were. But that's what we were talking about with a lot of other people that we sat down and watched that video. It's like, they got all excited, we finished our music video, so I guess I figured, let's steal some jerky and stuff and go home and we'll party and, have our munchies, and I'm just curious. I don't really think, Roy, that the AM/PM was involved in it, because what owner of any store out of their right mind would allow a group like that to just come in and just pack their store, jump on shelves and video? Nobody's going to give you approval to do that mess.
Yeah, I mean that
And
was part of the Channel 4 report, right, from Tony Shin, that this is, these, because that the part where they're taking things, it appears, or allegations that they're taking stuff out of the store without paying for it or whatever, damaging stuff, was on Channel 4 as, yeah, look at this is what's happening in Hemet, what happened in Hemet, da 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 da. So, has there been any arrests or anything from the police department on this, or where's the status on the investigation on it?
well, I did talk to him at police department. I think it was day before yesterday, I believe it was, when this first video just came out. And they actually did turn the video over to the investigators that are actually working the case. So far, I don't think any arrests have been made. If there has been any arrests, we haven't got the press release yet out on it. But I'm sure there's going to be arrests on it, because a lot of people were saying, oh, well, was this even reported to the police? This was just a music video. It was all a setup. Police wasn't even called. Where's the police at? They don't see the police in the video. Of course you're not going to see the police in the video, because they shot the video and bounced before the police even got there. So people are like, oh, well, the police ain't involved. Yes, the police are involved, because I have been communicating with him at the police department about this, and they are definitely investigating this. So, there will definitely be an arrest made. HPD is not going to play around and let something like that slide in our town. I guarantee you that.
Yes, I would hope not. I mean, I hope we would get to the bottom of this whole thing, because, like you say, there's allegations going across the whole deal, and I understand it from some business owners, but I wish this attitude would change, but they don't want to rock the boat or say anything about that, or are afraid of the repercussions or anything like that. But if this is the case, or something like you said, if this was not something that was done with the store owner's permission and stuff, which was the indication when Channel 4 put the surveillance video out. I mean, and KNBC4 and Tony Shin are some pretty credible people, and I don't think they would be putting out false information on this stuff, or putting out a video like this without having some really good information. And why would the store give them surveillance video of this stuff?
Exactly.
I mean, unless there's some sort of plot or something, unless this is part of the game they were playing. But if they are, they're to try and get publicity or something. I don't know. The whole thing is just really, really, really crazy of what happened on that whole deal.
And I'm going to get more information on that. Hopefully I'll have the details for your next Thursday show. I'm actually going to go down to that store, and I'm going to get in contact with the owner of that store and get their side of the story. Okay, this video's been released, that happened in your store. What's your take on this? We see your employee over here behind the counter, he's bumping in it, he's getting involved in it, like, he's a part of it. So now people are saying that the store, has all this planned, which, seriously, Roy, I don't think the store, I know the manager of that place, and I don't think they would partake in something like that, especially with the language that was put out in the video, just like you say, the crotch grabbing, the grabbing, and, the store's not going to want their name on some
they could
funky music video.
Yeah,
like
you would
that.
think that would not be the case, and that's what put it out there. How did you know how Channel 4 obtained the surveillance video, or the stuff of where they were supposedly or allegedly the stuff was taken out of the store?
Well, knowing Tony Shin is a guy, he's gonna get what he needs, and Tony, I know him personally, and Tony's not going to stop till he gets his evidence, and he's got good connects as far as, getting videos and stuff from. I'm pretty sure that he did talk to the manager and actually got the footage off of their security camera footage. So, and, the footage right there shows, that the disaster these guys did in the store. So I really don't think the store had anything to do with that. Why would they even put that out to the news,
It seems kind of strange that nothing has been said or too much more about that whole incident of that, because And again, that's what makes me question the whole thing. Why Channel 4 put it out there? They must have had some pretty good reason to be putting that out there. The flash mob, uh, you know, uh, is doing this in HEMET, da da da. I mean, if it was a legit deal, that puts it into question of what was really going on in this whole thing, or why. That's what
right.
questions me is why Channel 4 put this out.
Yeah, I guess it was a crazy story, and I guess Tony Shin got wind of it, and he decided to come down and cover it. And I did talk with Tony Shin day before yesterday. I called him on the cell phone, and I shot him the copy of the video. I say, you remember this flash mob robbery that, you covered down here in Hemet? I said, well, here's the other part of the video. These guys actually were shooting us. Like I told you, before, I said, these guys came in with, you can see them in their footage that you aired on TV. And they even added the news segment into their music video to, to that incident. So it's showing right there, hey, police, here we are. We're the ones that did it, and look at what else stupid stuff we're doing.
That seems that even seems was Tony Shin or Channel 4 aware that they were using their videos or on that?
No, Tony didn't even know anything about any videos being shot until way after the segment aired on TV, because I had one of our HEMET news viewers on our news page on HEMETiNews.com. He was watching the security video, and he started framing picture by picture out of the security camera footage. And that's when he started showing, hey, IMG Studios, this guy's wearing this, logo, IMG Studios. So, and then he found the guy's Instagram, he found all other stuff on these guys, he screenshot it all, he sent it to me. I sent all that to Tony, and Tony's like, wow, he was amazed. And then I sent it to Hemet Police Department. They looked at it and like, wow, okay, great. We're getting some good leads here. So they ended up sending all that information over to investigators. And then things got quiet for a while. And then all of a sudden this video just surfaced. And they're like, oh, check this out. Here's the incriminating part. How stupid can these criminals be? I heard of dumbest criminals, but
well, we don't know that they're criminals yet because they haven't been charged with anything. But
right,
I mean,
true, yeah.
So I mean, it's just allegations, or it should bring questions out of what it is. Because let's just say the oddball case that this was a legit deal, then somebody should be answering, or why is Channel 4 putting out like this as, there was an attack or a flash mob that, invaded a store in Hemet, and then all this stuff. I mean, the whole thing is really quite confusing, the heck, to me. As I hear more about it, I'm thinking, it just doesn't make a lot of sense of what's going on.
I know, right?
I mean, yeah. I guess it's going to take a little more legwork or something to find out what it is. Call up. See, do you got a number for these IMG Studios? Because I'd like to talk to these guys and find out what the heck's going on.
Oh, I'm sure you can probably Google it. I know where they're located at. They're located over 500 South State Street, right there in San Jacinto, in the parking lot of the the Hookah Zone. They're located upstairs.
Huh? Yeah, this is a whole kind of weird kind of situation here, because I mean, what is it? Because I mean, I remember seeing the report by Tony Shin, and I was shocked when I seen it, and I think I even shared it on the deal of what was going on, going that for that. So man, it was actually a really shocking deal. But got about a minute left. You got anything else, Eddie?
That's about it, Roy. I will definitely, like I say, this week I'm going to do some investigative reporting on this, and I'm going to be talking with the store, also talking with the police department, and I'll try to get more information as far as what was really going on behind the scenes, and if the store was really involved in it, or what was the real scoop behind the scoop. And I'll definitely be talking about it on the next week's show with you.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Eddie, that crazy guy with the lazy eye. HEMET News. Check him out.
.com.
You got it. See you, Eddie.
All right, you have a good one, Roy.
You got
1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
Man, that is getting to be a weird story of that, of all the, what was really going on? Did they have permission to do it? Why did Channel 4 put that out there? What is happening with the police department? Are they doing, is it an ongoing investigation? Did they close it? That whole thing begs a lot of questions of what actually happened there, because I mean, a lot of people were shocked when they seen that, and the way Channel 4
30
put it out,
seconds.
as the flash mobs, invading this store and da 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 da. And I'd be interested in how Channel 4 got the tape of that they put out on the Tony Shin report. That's going to be interesting. I think this store's got a lot of legs to it. Either way, it's going to be
Here we go.
very
10
interesting
seconds.
to find out what found out.
HEMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Here we are, coming back on the Mighty Met, 1490 KMET. We just had Eddie George on from HEMET News, giving us an update on that flash mob story. We're going to have to really find out what's going on. Was that a setup deal? Was that really a real video shoot? Was the flash mob really taking over the store? Or was it all that or all that? We'll have to find out about that, because, yeah, I agree. Either this is a whole setup, or as Eddie said, they got to be the world's dumbest criminals on that. So we don't know yet anything. We'll have to do some digging on that. Hopefully Eddie will do that. We'll have to ask NBC4 where they got all this stuff, because, man, that's kind of turning into an intriguing story coming on. But I want to do this for all our KMET listeners, because this one didn't, and we covered it at the top of the show. But you need to watch or listen to this video, all of you driving home, because we talked about the racism part yesterday and that, and Joe Biden is, his kind of moseying around it. But this is a university of, I think a student in a university in Virginia. They had built a new multicultural room, supposed to be where everybody comes together and we all get along, we swap stories, and you've heard all the rhetoric. Well, you don't understand our culture, this or that, and we're all supposed to come together and understand that so we don't have all these problems. And probably is a good idea. No problem with that. That sounds like a good idea. So it's been open a few days. This student walks into the multicultural room and says this.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up, because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at, and there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Unbelievable. People, it's a multicultural center, but people of color, everybody's of color. Like I said, you want to say white? Pure white is invisible. There is no such thing as pure white as a color. What we know as white, like it's on the letters of Toyota of San Bernardino, your recording studio behind me, you have to tint it to a color to see what you actually think of, or what we know traditionally as the color white. So we all are. There really is no such thing as a white person, because that would be called a ghost, because you couldn't see them. But it's supposed to be a multicultural center, and you're telling, hey, you get out just because we don't like this, the color of your skin tone? It's only supposed to be for us. Where was a sign up there that says, we can only have so many quote-unquote white people, Hispanics, black, American Indians, Asians, I don't know, whatever. I mean, I didn't. Is there a percentage that you have to have, or I mean, this is how ridiculous this is. Was even like I said, what is more disturbing is she got applause from this, and what is even more disturbing than that is this is on top of what they do every day, and this is the rhetoric that keeps going on. And if you're ever really going to eliminate or deal directly with what is so-called racism or just hating somebody or whatever, or putting people into classifications just because of the shade of brown their skin tone is, this is absolutely 180 degrees opposite of the way you're going to solve it. Because you get out of here because in the multicultural center, again, you get into college and you don't understand the words, the definitions of terms. Multicultural means everybody. Not, we don't want you here. That's called, when you're saying you don't want somebody here because of the shade of the color of their skin tone, that is called segregation. That's exactly what she was doing. She was segregating based on skin color. Probably what they say is what's happening or what's wrong. They're doing exactly the same thing. And again, like all this stuff, it's really, really, really weird. Not weird. I just can't wrap my head around it. It's like unbelievable that we're dealing with this in 2020 in the United States of America. We're still dealing with this kind of insanity, with this kind of stupid, with this kind of hate. Because that's what, in my opinion, that's what she's doing. She's running. There's the hate. You want to talk about hate? That was right there in that video. Too many of you white people in here, get out. Well, what the heck is that? How are you going to promote diversity? Or understanding your culture, like, is some lot of the, well, you haven't lived in our culture, you don't understand it, da 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 da. Well, if you don't even associate it, or you hear about it, or hear your side of the story, you're never going to understand it. I mean, it's just like we're in this bizarro world that keeps, we're swirling back. This kind of stuff could undo all the gains we've had across the board with everybody, of making America the land of opportunity, where we don't judge you by race, creed, color, economic status, or anything. You can do you can be what you can be, and it's up to you to make it, not blame somebody else for what's going on or your troubles or anything else. And that's exactly what this is. It's a power play. It's playing the blame game. And it's just incredible. One thing, and we want to talk about an incredible article that came out in the LA Times. They're talking. The headline is Trump's tax bill driving residents from California? No one knows. I mean, they're putting this stuff out that they're trying to make the case that taxes aren't high enough in California. That no, it's Trump's fault that taxes are high in California. And that is not the reason people are leaving in droves and our population is leveling off and actually declining. And we have had a net exodus for almost 20 years of U.S. residents out of California that have come in. And they're trying to make this case. It has nothing to do with the 2/3 plus majority in our legislature that's Democratic left wing and been jacking up taxes and got them up on the ballots coming up. They're hitting us at the local level, state, everything else. We have the highest gas prices in all of the 50 states. We're over $1 a gallon more than the average because of cap and trade. Donald Trump had nothing to do with cap and trade. That is solely on California. Almost $1 a gallon in stupid taxes that nobody else has on gasoline in California. How they come up with this stuff, I will never know. But it's going to be important because we're going to have Jason Hunter on a little bit because we do have, actually in most of this area, we will have two very big school bonds, which are just taxes with interest. They're really double taxation because you're paying twice to three times as more. We had a $15 billion school bond, Proposition 13, will be on the ballot March 3rd, which is about in 3 weeks now, on $15 billion statewide school bond. On top of that, we got a $715 million bond for the Riverside Community College District, which takes in most of Corona, Norco, Riverside, Moreno Valley, Paris, in that. And they all say it's for the children. And you need this, and we got to have this, and our schools are failing. And like I said, I get reports all the time, off the record, of the guys that are actually doing the maintenance on the schools. And they say, the higher-ups are telling them, don't fix this stuff. Patch it together. They're not fixing stuff properly. Then when it becomes a crisis, on top of it becoming a crisis, it takes 2 to 3 to 4 to 10 times more to fix it because they didn't fix it when it became a problem. They let it fester. And then they say, our schools are falling apart. We need all this stuff. We need $15 billion statewide. We need $750 million for RCC. We needed $398 million for the Measure M, and I think it was Measure P, which was close to that same amount down in Riverside, and on and on and on. And every school district practically around here was doing that. Corona Norco Unified had one that was $300 million, about the same time what was in 2014 as Moreno Valley did. They were all, we're just getting hit up and down the board each and every day. And we can't take it anymore. And then you hear this lunacy. Like in the LA Times, there's still no evidence taxes are driving residents out of California. Really? This guy, Michael Hiltkiz of the LA Times, business columnist. Are things that bad at the LA Times that we're getting, like 100% propaganda? To fill us in on the local stuff, like I said, is Jason Hunter, our man down in Riverside, and our premier expert on these bonds and stuff, because I think he actually sits on one of the bond oversight committees down in the school district, LA. Jason Hunter, welcome back to the show.
Hey, great to be on again, Roy. So it's just free money, right? It's just, you don't ever have to pay it back. That's the good thing about these bonds, right?
There you go. And I just talked about it before you come on just to set you up, but you need to read this. Go to the LA Times in the business section. There's a column. There's still no evidence that taxes are driving residents out of California.
No evidence at all.
My jaw hit the ground.
Life at all.
Yeah. In the LA Times in the business section, is that how is that how far we are falling down the reality trip? Unreality trip, I guess I should say, that we take. I mean, is just the vast majority of people just stamping this stuff and believing it?
Well, I mean, if you raise taxes and you raise regulations to make housing unaffordable, and then you raise taxes to increase the quality of life, and the net result is homelessness, you have to blame somebody, but it can't be taxes, right?
Yes. Yeah, it isn't that we have the highest housing costs by far, the highest gas prices, the highest education per student, I think, now when you add everything up in that. And we're in the bottom of quality life. And when you adjust it for cost of living, we're 39 out of the 50 states and on and on. Highest gas taxes, highest gas prices in the whole 50 states. Even Hawaii, where they got to boat it in 2,500 miles, and we produce it right here. That's the lunacy. Tell us about Measure A in Riverside Community College District.
Well, Measure A is on the ballot for March 3rd, and it's to improve school facilities, modernize, build new school facilities for the Community College District, which consists of Moreno Valley College, Riverside Community College, and Norco Community College. And Measure C, which is its predecessor, was passed back in 2004. We're still on that bond. We're still paying it off in our property taxes. In fact, we haven't even finished spending all the money from that bond, and we're going out for another one. This time for $750 million. By the time we pay it back, it'll be $1.4 million. And now, folks in this area, it's not really a tri-city area because it includes Corona and some other areas as well, but are going to see two assessments now, if this passes, on your property taxes for the community college district. And so, I'm not saying that the community college district doesn't have facilities needs, and and of course, with the ever increasing cost of higher education at the university system, I can see what's driving a lot of students towards community college. Folks that may have at one point in time gone the 4-year route are going 2 years at the community college so they can get access to cheaper credits before they make the move to transfer. So I do get that. They are seeing a lot higher demand, particularly over in the Moreno Valley and Norco campuses where they need to grow. I'm not saying they don't have needs, Roy, but what I'm saying is the public controls the purse strings. In the contract with which they can build these facilities is Measure A. That's a contract, that ballot measure. And our contract, the public's contract, is a terrible one, and I'll tell you why. Because Measure A has no project list, meaning that they're asking for $715 million, and they're not stating what they're actually going to build with it. And I think that is a terrible deal, prone to future bait and switches. And it may not even be this, and I have no reason to believe that it's this administration and this group of electeds who are the trustees over at RCCD, but you have to not just trust them, you have to trust everybody who comes after them for probably the next 20, 30 to 40 years. And I think that is just a bridge too far. I think that's a bad contract. I think given what we've seen here, at least in Riverside, I'm sure you've seen a little bit out in your area as well in Moreno Valley, and I'm sure people have seen it in Corona and Norco, is that if you write these kind of what I call blank checks, they will come back to bite you at some point in time. And here in Riverside, we saw it with Measure Z, the 1 cent sales tax adder was passed in 2016, which turned into an employee pension and salary, basically, tax. In fact, the first two things they did once they passed it was called the Vital Services and Public Safety Measure. They went out and they decided to build a new library. They already had a library, a downtown library, and they decided to move it. And I don't know where that fit into Vital Services and Public Safety. And then we paid off pensions.
Yes.
And we continually try to pay off pensions, and we gave a lot of the employees, I would almost say across the board, our employees additional 10-12% bump in their salaries based upon Measure Z passing. The second measure is Measure O. Measure O was passed in 2016 here in Riverside as well, under the pretense that all the existing schools were going to get fixed, all the kids were going to be moved out of the portables, et cetera, et cetera. And then what happened 3 years later is we find they're using the money to build 4 new schools in a period where they have declining enrollment. And So it looks like we've been bait and switch a couple times here in this community. And now we have a ballot measure A, where they're asking us and setting us up to do the same thing. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but why would you put yourself in that position? Fool me once, fool me twice. Hopefully, fool me 3 times. Shame on me.
Yes, you would think so. And I said that, and just before you came on, I mean, I've got off the record reports from the people that actually do the maintenance, and they have told them not to do not to fix things right or just patch it up, da 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 da. Then they come up with this, well, everything's falling apart, and not only is it costing 2, 5, and 10 times more to fix it, like you've said, there is no rhyme or reason what they can spend it on, because the Measure M money, I've never got an accurate figure, but it could be anywhere from 0 to 28 million, because that's what they spend on Chromebooks, which a lease of Chromebooks that I understand for 3 years, and we're paying 30 years on these. They bought them out of the Measure M money, saying that it was part of the technology we talked about. You should only use long-term 30-year money. If you're using 30-year money, it should be something that's going to last at least 30 years, like an actual school. Not doing repairs or doing Chromebooks or running stuff like this or whatever. That should be coming out of the general fund budget. But what the bait and switch I've seen is they defer these costs and then they package them into a bond, which leaves more money in the general fund so they can raise their salaries or buy platinum on top of gold pension and medical benefits for the employees. That's a dirty little secret, I believe, the con that's been played on us for decades out here.
Well, if you look at the propaganda that's I'm sure folks are hearing on the radio, on Facebook, they're seeing in their mailers about Measure A. I just want folks to know this. I don't care what's on those propaganda pieces, whether it's about veteran centers or fixing leaky roofs or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Even if they see some things in the actual ballot language that make them believe that certain facilities are going to get built, I can assure you none of them are guaranteed. They are all optional, up to the whims of whoever's in control of the money at that point in time on the RCCD Board of Trustees. And who pays for all those nice, shiny, glossy propaganda pieces and those radio spots and those Facebook ads? Well, my guess is by the time we finally see some 460s on these, 460s are basically records that the state forces these ballot measure campaigns to reveal who's behind, who's supporting these efforts financially. My guess is you're going to see a lot of people like architects and lawyers and construction companies and construction management companies and consultants who all want to feed from the Measure A trough. So you cannot believe, in my opinion, it's all bias, everything that's coming out in your mail to sell this measure to the public. It's dishonest, in my opinion. It's dishonest to tell people they're going to get something when there's no guarantee.
Yes, it's just like one of the latest ones of the hotel tax passed in Marina Valley. They said, in the glossy photo, we're going to put into public safety, da-da-da-da-da. And I think it was Councilmember Dave Marquez asked at the meeting, well, what can we do with this? Well, whatever 3 votes on the council decides. If we want to buy, bunny rabbits and kitty cats or feed the homeless or something, that's in your, it's all going into the general fund, which means they have a lot of discretion of how to spend this stuff.
Well, if you think about, so how do they figure out what to put in the ballot propositions and on these propaganda pieces, and how do they figure out what is it going to be that they need to convince the public to reach into their pockets and shell out some more money for? A lot of times, and I'm not sure if it happened with Measure A, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, is that they actually pay pollsters to go out and do what we call push polls to figure out from the public, paid for, by the way, with the public money, to figure out what key phrases or catchwords or whatever the public might be the most sympathetic to get them to open their pocketbooks and their wallets one more time. And so the whole process, in my opinion, just if once you understand how it works soup to nuts from the beginning, when they try to get these ballot measures passed, and the way they write them at the very end it's I don't want to call it a fraud, but I just want to say it's dishonest. And the public needs to become better educated as to who's really benefiting from these measures.
Yes.
Not to say that the children, of course, and they're always going to scream about the children, look at the children, and the children do get some benefits, but who else is riding on these?
Yes, they're using our own money to raise our taxes or advocate for that, in my opinion, because when you're doing a push poll, there's no reason to do a push poll other than you're trying to get an end result. You're not putting out information, as my understanding they're legally allowed to do, but they're not able, government agencies, I should say, are not able or legally have the ability to advocate for a position or shape that public opinion in one way or the other. And if they are not crossing that line, they're bumping really hard on it. I know Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association has been really looking into that and filed some lawsuits on that. And that's another area of the law that really needs to be looked at. We got about a minute left. What do you got to wrap it up?
Well, it's on the ballots for March 3rd. The two big ballot measures out there for the public are this Measure A and also this Proposition 13, which is a state school bond measure. I think the public at some point in time has to get a better contract with its government agencies. And that's all that these ballot measures really are. They're contracts between the people who are paying the taxes and the districts who will be charged with using the money for the betterment of the community. And we're not saying, and I'm not saying currently that there isn't some benefit of having new and improved facilities, but we have to write a better contract to make sure that's what actually happens with the money and it doesn't go to other things. And I don't think it's too much for the districts to give us a project list if they need to come with smaller amounts of money, but more often, as opposed to going for the whole enchilada like they appear to be here with the $750 million measure, then so be it. They just need to rethink how they approach the public, because we need a better contract with specificity towards what's actually going to get built.
I agree. We need more accountability on that before we turn over our tax dollars. Thanks for being on the show, Jason. We'll have you back more as this, because we only got 2 or 3 weeks left, and the public needs to have all the information. Thanks for being on, Jason.
Oh, no. Take care. Bye-bye.
You got it. That's it. We're getting ready to roll out the show on that. We had Eddie George from HEMET News, Jason Hunter from Riverside on that. Talked about that incredible video. Take that video and share it to spread that far and wide. We need to defeat that kind of sentiment if we're ever going to have a sane society that we can all live in coherently on that. So on that, we'll be back on Fast Friday tomorrow on that with Stephanie and Steph, and along with covering the news, cover some of the lightest stuff and events and stuff that are going on all across not only the IE but the world. So till tomorrow at 5, see ya.